right, welcome to Bourbon and a Baby. I'm Jay. Unfortunately, Max will not be with us today. He cannot participate in any of these bourbon tastings and bourbon reviews until the year 2040. So just me. But this is my first ever bourbon review on the channel. So I wanted to start things off with New Riff Bottled in Bond. The idea behind this being my first bourbon review for the channel is that this is a brand new channel. New Riff Bourbon, brand new as of 2018, on the market from New Riff Distillery in Newport, Kentucky, right across the river from Cincinnati, Ohio, which is close to me, kind of. I live in Northwest Ohio, so about a 3-hour drive, and I can be at New Riff, which isn't bad. Definitely the closest Kentucky distillery to where I live, so that's nice. A little bit about New Riff Bottled in Bond. It is 4 years old as per the standards, 100 proof, and it's a high rye mash bill coming in at 65% corn, 30% rye, and 5% malted barley. Kind of a unique mash bill. There are other high rye mash bills out on the market, but 30% is towards the higher end of those. Old Granddad, I think, is 27% rye. Bullett's 27% rye. I believe Basil Hayden is as well. So there are other high rye mash bills out on the market, but this is on the higher end of those mash bills. So pretty interesting. What I like about New Riff Distillery, besides the proximity to where I live, like I said, about a 3-hour drive from me, is that they're one of the new craft distillery that is doing things, in my opinion, the way that a new craft distillery should do. They're only a few years old. This is their first release of their own juice, so just over 4 years they've been distilling. But while they were waiting for this to be ready to be released, they did source some product. I believe it was sourced from MGP and released it under the label OKI. Unfortunately, I never got the opportunity to try any of the OKI releases. It was hard to get in my area, but I heard good things. They tended to get pretty good reviews, so kind of showed that they knew what they were doing as far as picking a bourbon to source and release. And then once their own distillate was ready to be released, they stopped the OKI releases and are strictly releasing their own. They have a Bottled in Bond, which I'll be reviewing today. They also have a single barrel, which you can get, which is released at barrel strength. They also have a rye, which is a high rye. It's a 95% rye and 5% malted rye, so technically a 100% rye. And then they also have 2 different gins that they produce as well. I'm not a big gin fan myself, but they do have a bourbon barrel gin that wasn't terrible. Like I said, I'm not a big gin fan, but if I were, that'd probably be one that I would steer closer to. But enough talk, let's go ahead and give this a pour. And one of the nice things about New Riff is, as a distillery, kind of one of their mission statements, at least my interpretation of their mission statement, is that they like transparency. So their label, right here on the tax stamp, it says that it's distilled in the fall of 2014. It was distilled in the fall of 2014, and then bottled in the fall of 2018. So you know this is exactly a 4-year-old product. This is non-chill filtered as well, which I really like. They give you the mash bill actually on the back of the bottle, which is something that not a lot of bourbons do, which I really, really like. And just looking at the bottle itself, gorgeous. It's an absolutely beautiful design. I love how it's kind of starts with this kind of black, and then you can actually see the bourbon, the amber of the bourbon here towards the bottom. Just a really sleek design. I think they did really, really well with that. And that translates that same color translates once you get it poured into the glass here. It's a nice, kind of a soft amber color. And for being a 4-year-old, it's actually, kind of dark, a lot darker than you would expect most four-year-old products to be. All right, let's check the nose. I get a sweeter profile right off the bat from this. Get some of that corn, get a little bit of a butterscotch. You do pick up some cinnamon as well, kind of representing that higher rye. But it doesn't, just nosing it, I wouldn't have guessed that this was a higher rye product, to be honest. Not a lot of, that alcohol, that kind of ethanol smell off the nose. I mean, obviously it's there a little bit, but not too much. I'm starting to pick up some of those darker notes as well as I go back to it. Almost like a, kind of like a blackberry. And maybe even a little bit of nutmeg in there. Fantastic nose. All right, let's give this a taste. Cheers. It's really good. For being 100 proof and for being a higher rye, a lot more smooth than you would initially expect. Not a lot of that kind of bite that you would normally get from a high rye product. It actually goes down really well. It's definitely not as sweet as I got on the nose. You definitely get more of that rye on the palate, but I do pick up some brown sugar. I pick up a little bit of that cinnamon I got on the nose. Not too heavy though. A little bit, some of those baking spices, kind of traditional baking spices you get with a higher rye product. It's a little buttery too, so I think some of the corn is really cutting through there as well. So really terrific product in my opinion. I get a hint of that kind of traditional vanilla. Not much caramel on this, but a hint of butterscotch as well. See if I can pick up some of those dark fruits I got on the nose. Yeah, if you really look for it, I think you can get some of that blackberry, but not too much. Really more heavy on that brown sugar, that kind of cinnamon, with a little bit of that sweetness. And it's a really fantastic product. I can't say enough good things about it. I will say that I really like their distillery and kind of what they're doing there. If you get a chance to visit their distillery in Newport, Kentucky, Definitely recommend going. They have a beautiful building. They put on a great tour. I personally had Grover as my tour guide, and he was fantastic. So shout out to Grover. Max actually participated on this tour with me and my wife, although he was still in the womb at the moment, but he did actually visit New Riff Distillery. So that's cool. And the best part about that, since my wife was pregnant at the time, I got to drink all of her samples. So it was a great, and she drove. So it was a great experience for me. Maybe not so much for her and Max, but you know, it is what it is, right? So this is MSRP's around $40. I picked this up for, I believe, $40, $39.99, somewhere along the lines. I bought this at the distillery. Which is a little bit, a little high for a 4-year product, but you know, being a craft distillery, that you tend to get that, and you know, if you compare it to some other craft releases where they're releasing younger product and charging higher than $40, I think this is an absolute steal. So there are other bottled and bond products on the market with a high rye mash bill that you can get for cheaper. But this one, I think, is right up there with them, if not better. Like I said, you'd expect it to be a little harsh with at 100 proof, and with that high rye mash bill, you'd expect kind of a bigger bite, a bigger kick, more burn. And I think that's really kind of tempered on this product. I don't get much burn at all. Like I said, it goes down really smooth. It's actually a really dangerous bourbon because this is something I could just sip on all night. Just a terrific product. It even holds up well with like a large cube in here, or if you add a couple drops of water, it holds up really well. For a 4-year product, it's not the most complex bourbon I've ever tasted. But for a 4-year product, you'd expect it to be a lot less complex than it is. So it's a really good, fun drink. It's cool to talk about. If you get a bottle to share with your friends. And definitely, like I said, definitely recommend New Riff Bottled and Bond. Their single barrels can kind of vary. I tried 2 different single barrels, and both were vastly different from each other and from this, the Bottled and Bond. Like I said, they come in at a higher proof. They come in at barrel proof, so you know, that's going to depend barrel to barrel, and obviously how it's aged, where it's aged in the rack houses is going to affect that as well. So, but there are some really good single barrels out there. I kind of preferred when I tried the Bottled and Bond next to one of the single barrels. I actually preferred the Bottled and Bond. I thought it was more balanced. I did like the higher proof of the single barrels, but I thought overall that the Bottled and Bond was a better product. So that's why I bought this bottle. I won't say that I won't pick up a single barrel in the future. And I'm looking forward to trying their rye. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. All right, that'll do it. Don't forget to hit like on the video if you liked what I did here today. Also, don't forget to subscribe. That helps out the channel a lot. Leave me a comment below. Have you tried New Riff Bottled and Bond? If so, what do you think? Do you agree with what I've said about it? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Are you picking up any different notes than what I picked up? Let me know in the comments below. Like I said, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.